So on this episode of Dare to Say, I'm privileged to be joined by two sons. One son that I've adopted from another mother. Welcome, Jayjayborn2sing.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited that you're here. And a son from my loins, Aaron, Soul Anyia.
Blessings.
Don't say mum though.
Black is the color of my skin. Black is the light.
You know, when I first met Jayjayborn2sing, it was at a concert in Brixton, I believe. I was performing somewhere after so many years. And following that, you wrote a song on behalf of my sister Carolyn, sister Cece, Simi, might know her, who had passed away in 2016, you know, and I'll never forget that selfless act that you did. The song was beautiful. That was with Mandy Singer. It was absolutely phenomenal. And you touched my heart, and you've stayed in my heart since then, and we've been working together. We've done a song together, I Shall Wear a Crown, a reggae version, and a video, which was an amazing experience. So, you know, I thank you. But who is Jayjayborn2sing?
I'm a child of God, first and foremost. I'm a dad of four, a proud dad of four.
Okay.
Yeah, 4, yeah, proud dad of four. And I'm a singer-songwriter stroke producer. That is Jayjayborn2sing, that's me.
Very popular, Jayjayborn2sing, especially with those beautiful gospel melodies.
Thank you.
And my son, Aaron, Soul Anyia. I know who you are as my child, but who is Aaron, Soul Anyia to Aaron?
I would say, first of all, yeah, child of the Most High. But I'd say I'm a reflection as much as an illumination.
Do you want to expand on that? What are you a reflection of?
So having to face self and then illuminate that, you know, through might be my children, being a father, like, you know, as JJ said, or, you know, through others. It probably might not even necessarily be you. It could be a brother or sister, you know, that isn't blood related, but it's still bloodline as far as I'm concerned.
It's a very, very spiritually philosophical explanation as to who Aaron, Soul Anyia is. Not a singer, not a writer, none of those things.
I'm a singer. Again, you know, I believe that the Most High gave me a voice to use for certain things, even though I have used it for other things. And I think I've been given the chance to express that more now. So it's good for me.
Okay. So, your children or young people, I'd say children, young men of the 80s and 90s, and I'm interested in discussion for us to explore what it's like to be a black male in the UK, mental health and spirituality. You know, what is it like to be a black male, Jay?
I have sat with this question, and my childhood was pretty much sheltered, to be quite honest, in the sense of I was a churchgoer from very young. You know, I grew up with grandparents, my grandmother, my granddad, so I was quite sheltered. You know, it was church on Monday, church on Wednesday, Bible studies on Friday, and church on Sunday. Do you get what I mean? So I didn't really get out into the world to really explore the world until much later in my life, to be quite honest. So it was very church-based at a very early age. But as a black young male, I can't actually say that I had any struggles per se in terms of me being black, because I lived in an area where there was lots of black people. And I grew up in Brixton. So, yeah, so it was predominantly black. And so I didn't really experience anything. And to be quite honest, even as a black adult, I think maybe just because of the areas that I've lived in, it's always been predominantly black. So I've never experienced any problems, to be quite honest.
Is that racism?
Just any struggles in terms of my colour, full stop. Do you get what I mean? But I mean, childhood was tough, was hard. You know, we had to work hard for whatever it was that we wanted. I guess most of us have the same story, but it was tough. It was tough. But yeah, most of my childhood, I would say, was something to smile about.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful to have that.
Yeah.
And Aaron, for yourself as a black male, what's it like growing up in the UK, do you think? What's been your experience?
I mean, I'm quite shocked when you said you didn't experience any racism. You know, Jayjayborn2sing said you didn't experience any racism. I experienced racism in and around Brixton, Tulsa from an early age. I remember clearly a guy called Nutty Jamie. He going around
Really?
terrorizing black guys, and that's when I think it was like, you know, Brixton 28, so that we're not having this. I think they mashed him up one day really bad. And that's kind of what I know about racism. I mean, the first actual racist thing that I experienced when I went to school was 5. I can't remember clearly what happened. I think I had to shush. And the teacher just gave me a wicked slap around my face.
Oh.
And I think I didn't notice that was racism at the time.
Right.
You know, I thought it was just, you're not allowed to do that. Do you know what I mean, kind of thing? But yeah, that's, yeah.
So Aaron, you're explaining about that, you know, the racism that you didn't understand was racism at school when you were 5. But when did that come to you? When did you become conscious of your difference?
Well, I mean, there were some other more blatant things that I was aware that was racist, which, you know, so, but then again, you know, that pressure. So I think, you know, when I showed you in the book From Brixton to Def Jam about being at school as a Rasta kid and, you know, having a Rasta hat with dreadlocks and kids pulling off my Rasta hat to have a game with, you know, passing it about. And
I remember I cut your locks off because of the
you know, I'm
pressure
running
that you
around
had
the
at
playground
school.
fighting kids from my Rasta hat. They're laughing, telling me I got snakes out of my head. I'm Medusa or something like that. I'm like, no, I'm a Rasta, and I'm fighting. But then my solution was, all right, I don't want to get into these problems, so let me do a Mr. T.
Right.
I said, no. All right, he's doing some type of, what he's doing, 18 business. Get Mr. T, and that's what I did.
So what, you know, school was hard, and like you said, for you, Jay, you didn't really experience that coming from a very church background and a very protected background. My family, we didn't come from a church background, so Aaron didn't grow up in that environment, even though we eventually found ourselves there. But, you know, what have been some of the challenges, though? You know, because there are challenges for, you know, you're a father. What are some of the challenges that you face, our young people face as young black males? I mean,
having 2 daughters is hard work in terms of you have to deal with, I mean, they are children of shape. They are women of shape. And I had my difficulties in terms of having to accept that they have shape. I was like, why do they have so much shape? You know, and but yeah, I mean, obviously we have to deal with the young boys that are showing this strong interest in your daughter. I had a scenario with one of my daughters where she got caught up with one of the guys. I mean, must have been about 12. And her mum went through her phone and we were seeing some messages that were some adult stuff. And I was like, you know, I find it difficult to comprehend because I'm like, this is not even a message that I would send as an adult. But it made me realize, you know, it's very much so about environment, you know, and so her mum did actually end up moving her out of the area and taking her to a more predominantly white area, which I wasn't happy about.
Why?
Because her mum felt as though that that, you know, the black guys were just a little bit too harsh for our daughter.
Well, how does that make you feel as a black man, though?
Well, I wasn't happy about it because I didn't like the idea. Not that I have anything, no, I have mixed race children myself. But my actual daughter in question, her mum is black. She's half Nigerian and half German. And so, but her mum's answer to the problem, or should I say her solution, was to take her out. And I didn't agree with it. But when you're in a situation where, you know, the home is broken and the child lives with the mum, there's only so much that the dad, as the dad, can actually say or do. Do you get what I mean? And so there were things I had to go along with that I weren't 100% pleased with. But yeah, it was a struggle. It was a bit of a struggle. But we got there in the end. But there was lots of trials and tribulations in between.
And, you know, and Aaron, you know, as a parent and with your own experiences of growing up and having to navigate through particular circumstances that challenge your identity, how has it been for you as a parent with your children? What things do you think are a challenge?
You mean now or then?
No.
No. I'd say I start with the girls. Not really getting to know them, but just after not being around them for so long, probably having to give them that space to get to know them. I think that's been hard for me. It's been easy as it's been hard. But then with the boys, maybe Rashane, the same thing, but not so much because Rashane is very receptive and Rashane is a lot like me, as are the girls.
But so you've got six children.
Six of them,
so,
yeah.
So.
Dante and Cairo, I mean, Cairo not as yet. I mean, yeah, Cairo, you know, but Dante is more like, it's a challenge, only because he's very quick, very intelligent, very fast, he can do everything. And he reminds me of myself. Rashane's like that, but I think Rashane had different direction than me. Dante is probably maybe tried to emulate me, but maybe not all the negative stuff, but you know, try to put what he thinks is positive, which can be quite challenging because as a father, I'm always wanting to protect. I wanted to protect my daughters, I wanted to protect my sons, and for me, I can be a bit of a Malcolm X about it, and I won't be getting shot on no stage for it. Neither. That's just what I feel about it. You gotta say it. No disrespect, you know. Rest in peace, Malcolm X, and to all the elders and ancestors. But I just mean, you know, we're in different times now, and I feel like, you know, I'm living for them, and that's why I exist. And until I don't exist.
What do your children think about you in music in the industry?
Well, I mean, my firstborn, he's not actually in the picture for a reason that we don't even know. He just decided to go off on his own adventure and exclude everyone along the way. So, which is quite challenging because, you know, when you don't have answers, you don't know reasons to why you know, that choice has been made. But my oldest daughter, as far as she's concerned, she's my only fan. Nobody else exists as far as she's concerned. My second daughter, she's just coming into the fold. You know, there was, you know, some little obstacles along the way. And my youngest son, who's adopted, he's my ride and die. Yeah.
And Aaron, the influences of music on your children, you know?
It's been a big major influence. You know, I start from Rashane, Ray to Ray, who surprised me, you know, because I remember after not seeing the children for so long, and then kind of like bumping into them in the street and going to the cash point to draw out every single penny. You take that. And just feeling like, oh my gosh, and then it's like, I do nothing now. And I hearing it for the first time and then the lyrics and thinking, wow, that's from when I used to sell CDs on the street after I got dropped from Def Jam, and he was there as a toddler just behind me giving people CDs and signing stuff and listening to the music and going on with it. So, and then, you know, again with the twins, you know, hearing them sing and looking at them, you know, because they're versions of you, you know, versions of Dad, you know, and our family, and just looking at that and...
Like the DNA kind of lives on.
Yeah, it lives on. And then like, you know, Dante again, being able to do everything, singing, rapping, you know, just... And Cairo, it's like Talia, you know, them performing at the NSMA the other day. It's just like, for me, that's my heaven. Yeah, literally. Yeah.
You know, we've been a part of the music industry for a long time, but I want to hear about your influences and the creative aspects of being in the music industry. Is it all positives? Has your experience been all good? You know, talk to me about that.
I grew up in a household of many different types of music. Obviously, being with my grandparents, there was lots of Jim Reeves and Claudel Clark. A little bit of rock and roll and blues. You know, but then as I started to get older, I have family that are part of sound system, Sir Lloyd.
Oh, so nice.
He's my first cousin.
He's your cousin. We went to school together.
Chalmers, is that Chalmers?
No.
My bad.
Yes, he's my first cousin.
Right.
He's the one responsible for actually putting a microphone in my hand.
Wow.
Yeah. And so,
Small world.
so I grew up in that kind of household. My uncles obviously used to go out raving and stuff, and every now and again they might take me to a house party and put me to bed in the room.
Yeah.
But I didn't stay in the bed. You know, so I had all that influence. So I had lots of different music around me, lots of loves rock and rare grooves. And so in terms of it being a positive influence, I would say when I was younger, obviously I was listening to what was being played via uncles and aunts. But as I got older and I started to explore, I started to learn about rap and all this stuff, and started to hear different types of, you know, different energy, you know. And so, but I would say, I think that it's safe to say that I knew how to take what was good and get rid of what was bad because of being so grounded with grandma and granddad. Do you get what I mean? Like they embedded it in me. Early, make sure you listen to this. Even though we did listen to certain things secretly, but we knew what wasn't right and what was right. Do you get what I mean? So
And Aaron, your musical influences and...
my first musical influences was probably you and Dad. Yeah, because you know, I'd watch you guys practicing. You know, Dad, I couldn't forget a weekend where he wouldn't have the band round, setting up instruments and miking them up and having practices, and you know, Karen and Carol Sims and is it Paulette? is it no Claudia? No,
Claudia Fontaine. It wouldn't have been Carol, it would have been Claudia
Claudia,
Fontaine.
yeah, that's right,
and
yeah.
Karen Wheeler, yeah.
And you know, Auntie coming around sometimes and listening to the harmonies and you know, even Newton, you know, playing the guitar and stuff like that.
The reggae music you were listening to.
Yeah. More time listening to you guys' harmonies and stuff like that. Yeah, and that's reggae riffs. Yeah, but I'd say my first vibrato learned fully was the Jason Donovan song.
Jason
there's
Donovan.
Donovan.
Yeah.
Out the blue.
yeah. Seal it with a kiss.
Oh.
You know, being an artist is really can be quite volatile. I don't know if that's going to be the right word.
That's the right word.
You know, because we are very sensitive souls, aren't we, as artists? How do you cope with emotional and mental issues when it comes to making that distinction between I've got to live my everyday life, but my passion is music, and you know, sometimes that can get in the way of our immediate reality. What does that feel like to you?
For me, it's been and still is very hard.
Hard.
Yeah, very, very hard. I've had a few failed relationships because music has always been my first love.
Yes.
And I've come to a point in my journey now that I recognize how challenging it can be for a female to be with a singer. Because it's almost like they're having to fight and battle or be in competition with this other female, which is music.
Yes.
You know, and so I'm still finding it difficult now. I'm single now, but that's by choice. Because of the failed relationships, it's almost like I'm kind of like afraid to, you know, step out and explore, because music will always be my first love. Or should I say second, because obviously God is my first. Do you get what I mean? And so that's borrowing my children, by the way. You know, so but I find it hard, and it's also difficult because some people, should I say, think that, you know, we are not human beings. Do you get what I mean?
It's interesting. You should say that.
Yeah, you know, and you know, I'm just as human as the next person. And so what I'm finding that I'm having to do at the moment is if I go certain places and I do performances, I'm being very intentional about staying behind and sitting with people and conversing, just to let people know. But I am just normal, just like you. Sometimes I don't want to. Sometimes I'm tired and I want to go home, and you know, I might not be well.
Yeah.
But it's just something that, you know, I feel as though, Roger, you've got to do this part, because it's actually a part of.
But it's like your sensitivity makes you read the room differently.
But this is it.
And I think that's what it is.
I think I think maybe you can agree is that one thing that we do is when we enter a place, the first thing we do is read the room. Do you get what I mean? Because we have to know how to handle the room once we get up there to do what it is that we've come to do.
That takes a lot of strength to do that.
100%.
You know, Aaron, you know, I know that you've personally had a lot of challenges, especially because, you know, when we're deeply creative, you know, trying to balance that passion with reality is so difficult. What has it been like for you?
I think after getting dropped from Def Jam, that was the biggest reality check for me. Not realizing that, you know, a lot of things could have been connected to a type of mental health for me, and identifying those things down the line to be able to amend myself.
But you were young.
Yeah. And as you know, Jayjayborn2sing said, having failing relationships, but I could say, you know, with Rashane's mother, I don't think it was a case of the music or anything like that failing the relationship itself. I think it was a case of self failing the relationship. And the reason why I say that is because of the inexperience that one had on both sides to be able to cope with that type of lifestyle. Being her background and my background, you know, we're very both stronger people now, so we probably would have dealt with it more differently
From
as
when you were
opposed to,
younger. Yeah, and it's, you know, that's very honest, because, you know, we have to be honest here because of childhood trauma. You know, none of us come from necessarily safe backgrounds, and that certainly wasn't my experience growing up or yours. And, you know, we have to be honest. I have to be honest here as your mother, because you did endure a lot of trauma, and that led to your incarceration on several occasions, right? Some of that, I think the emotional trauma did.
I mean, yeah and no, and I could disagree a little bit, just because my children for me are a reflection of it in a disagreement, and Rashane is a prime example. You know, everybody does deal with things differently, and you know, you do want your children to be better than you. I believe that we do have choices, and sometimes we make bad choices. We have to understand that we're making bad choices. Why do we make those bad choices? Are we making those bad choices because of what happened to us, or are we making those bad choices because we just feel like we want to make those bad choices? And I think we really have to kind of be really honest there. And it's a thin line, you know, because Rashane is a prime example. Rashane, Ray to Ray, you know, he's not that guy. Do you know, Rashane is a beautiful soul, you know.
And I love you for that, and I love you for your honesty. But what I love even more about my son is your ability to pen songs in those dark moments. Some of your greatest songs that I know have happened when you're in those situations. You know, what does knowing God mean to you?
It's personal.
Okay, we'll leave it there. But it's personal. But I know that God has kept you. God has inspired you.
God is personal. God is internal. God is not external. When God fixes you, He don't fix you from the outside. Yeah, God is internal. God fixes you from the inside. He don't fix you from the outside.
You know, and I heard you say in the beginning, you know, that you have a talent which is God-given, and you don't always use it the way that you want to, but you're using it. And the life you live is more important than anything. And like you said, through choice, you know, we make choice. And that in itself is taking ownership, which I think is amazing, you know. And I know with you, Jay, that everything you do is about the gospel. It's about promoting the gospel. Or the majority of what you do is that, you know. So what does that mean to you, you know, musically?
Musically, I just recognize and know that I have a responsibility. I know for sure that music is food for the soul. And so therefore, when we're penning, we have to be very intentional about what we're writing. And when we're recording and singing, we have to be careful of what we're putting out. And so I'm very, very intentional about that. And so so when it comes to writing songs, there are friendly words and unfriendly words, and I'm very intentional about those things as well. Not just, you know, like the word "but" is, you know, for me is a negative in the sense of, you know. So when I write songs, I try not to use the word "but" too much. Do you get what I mean? And so yeah, and so I know that I have a mandate. You know, God's given me an agenda to feed the soul. And so yeah, I like to be very careful, you know, about what I'm doing.
You know, we have so much to learn from each other and our own life experiences, you know.
Indeed.
But if I said to you, brown sugar, what conjures up in your mind?
Shezzie?
Yeah, because you were too young then.
Yeah, no, I mean, I didn't realize that brown sugar was brown sugar until I actually met you. Because obviously, like I'm 52, so I didn't realize, but obviously I know the songs, but I didn't know, you know, how great you guys were until when I got introduced to you and I was told, do you know who Pauline Curtin Reed is? And I was like, no, not sure. So I now went onto the YouTube and I was like, oh, so, you know, I have to, like we're being honest, I didn't really know,
Okay.
you know, until I met.
That's fair enough.
Yeah.
The whole point of this memoir is to inform people of that time and who we are. And obviously, what does brown sugar mean to you?
Brown sugar. Whenever I think of brown sugar, I just think of you, Mum. Yeah, I just think of. I think of the group. I mean, obviously, you know, I think of the Catlin family a lot when I think of brown sugar, because of the stories that I hear about, you know, of family on granddad's side coming from the sugarcane plantations and singing.
That's right. Yeah.
You know, so it's I think of that.
Makes sense. Well, I know that you're going to perform a song tour for us, the both of you. It's a song that Aaron has written. Aaron, tell me about the song, how it came and the inspiration behind it.
Okay, so just the last time I was incarcerated, I've been to prison many times. First time, not really experiencing it or not noticing it probably. But then the first time questioning it. And I'll go into it a little bit. So basically, you know, you get people in there, so you think, you know, it's normal prisoners. They could be, but the way that I see it, you don't know how the spirit works. So, you know, God can send his angels in and out of any situation, in and out of any person at any time. I know there's a scripture that says, be careful when you're entertaining, because you might be entertaining angels. And I see an angel in my cell look out the flap and flap his wings many times. And if anyone can understand that interpretation, they know what I mean. And I know I've spoken to many fellow prisoners that can relate to what I'm saying. So I saw, it was a news thing, and the people then was getting bombed in one country, but the lady, she was on the news, she was explaining it, but it looked like she had a smirk on her face. But the thing was, I could understand the smirk, because it was a smirk of guilt, because she wasn't there. She didn't have to endure it. She didn't have to face it. She didn't have to bear that pain. And, you know, it was kind of a guilt to be like, I'm not there, but I'm glad I'm not there. But I'm giving you the news. And kind of flash in my head said to me, but you're going to bear it. You know, because we all have to bear it at some point. You know, so at what point are we bearing it? But are you going to suffer, or are you going to let the angels help you? Are you going to receive? Are you going to be ready to receive? Can you see? And that
was inspiration for the song.
Yeah.
Well, at this point, I want to say thank you for being so open, for sharing with me on Dare to Say parts of yourselves that we can share to our community. Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you for having me. Bless you.
I can see the devastation, depopulation for the nation, extermination fire station. Soon we'll all be in extinction. They say the gas chambers will never be no more. Genocide is over, but what about the war? The world is in right now for a war that I see.
Oh, I can see the fire burning, the children crying and no one's listening. We are wise and they are stupid. Undignified, we're on loose, yeah. They say the gas chamber will never be no more. and genocide is over. But what about the war, the world we're in right now? The Third World War.
I see angels, angels in the skies. 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 I see. Oh. Mind controlling in the system, remote controlling human beings, mental health and medication seems to be another means. And they say the gas chambers will never be no more, and genocide is over, but what about the war the world is in right now? The Third World War. What are we fighting for? I see angels, angels in the skies. I see angels, angels in the skies. I see angels, angels in the skies. I see
Angels, angels in the sky.
My father says the angel landed. I'll tell you again. My father says the angels landed to separate the wheat and chaff as he is planted. There's nothing you can do. I see. Angels, angels in the skies. I see angels, angels in the skies. I see angels, angels in the skies. I see angels, angels in the skies. So Yeshua comes, will you be ready? Oh yeah, yeah. When Yeshua comes, will you be ready?
Will you be ready? Yeah.
I'm asking you, I'm asking myself. When Yeshua comes, will you be ready?
Will you be ready? Yeah.
I hope that I'll be ready to.
Ready to.
They say he's returning now. He's returning after knowing you. And they say the gas chambers will never be no more. Genocide is over, but what about the war the world is in right now?
Right now.
The world. What are we fighting for? I see angels, angels in the skies. I see angels. angels, angels in disguise. I see angels, angels in disguise. I see
angels in disguise.
I know I've seen. I ain't gonna wish upon the star no more.
No more.
No, no.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's the
final countdown.
Ooh.
Yes, it is. It's the final countdown. The final.
Oh, it's the final countdown.
Angels, angels. I see.
Final countdown.
Angels, angels, I see.
Oh,
I see.
angel. Oh,
I see